Blackarachnia, dangerous and eight-legged transformer origins. Introduction. Welcome to our video on one of the most fascinating characters in the Transformers universe, Blackarachnia. This femme fatale is a fan favourite, known for her unique combination of beauty, cunning and deadly power. Throughout her appearances in various Transformers media, Blackarachnia has demonstrated a wide range of abilities, from her spider-like agility and web-slinging to her powerful energy weapons and mind control powers. She's a complex character with a compelling backstory and has become a beloved part of the Transformers lore. In this video, we'll delve deeper into Blackarachnia's history, examine her most notable appearances, and explore what makes her such a unique and unforgettable character. So sit back, relax, and let's take a closer look at Blackarachnia. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us it means a lot. So thank you. Let's begin.
Going transmetal. And if you hadn't disrupted the energy flow from that alien gizmo, it might have worked!
Blackarachnia backstory explored. Blackarachnia is a fascinating and alluring character in the Transformers universe. She is a cunning and dangerous femme fatale with 8 legs, each of which she knows how to use to her advantage. Despite being a renegade Predacon under Megatron's command, she is one of the few who can outsmart him on occasion. Freedom and independence are precious to Blackarachnia, and she would rather be deactivated than become a slave. She treasures her independence, but is afraid to admit her emotions. Her overconfidence sometimes clouds her judgment, but her affection for Maximal Silverbolt is her most significant vulnerability. Silverbolt's heroic nature and generosity make her uneasy, as she has never experienced unconditional love before. Blackarachnia is portrayed by Venus Terzo in the Beast Wars animated series and has become a fan favourite due to her complex personality, unique abilities, and captivating backstory. In the Beast Wars animated continuity, a pod from the Maximal falling stasis gave birth to Blackarachnia. Tarantulas was inspired to create her by seeing a Black Widow struggle and consume another spider. Megatron said that by witnessing the thin and gorgeous Blackarachnia morph and strike several poses, he had hidden motivations behind the form choice for her body. Blackarachnia became well known among the Predacons and Maximals as a major headache for Megatron. Tarantulas attempted to build a stasis capsule escape spacecraft for himself when he learned about the Voke, while Blackarachnia was there attempting to form a partnership. When Blackarachnia and Scorponok travelled to a strange floating island teeming with enormous power, she pushed him aside and seized possession of the island, only to be vanquished by Tigatron. Starscream took possession of Waspinator and then deceived Megatron, only to be betrayed back by Blackarachnia. As she assisted Tarantulas in getting to the Axelon to get a stasis pod for transformation into an escape spacecraft, she took control after Tarantulas was crippled by Inferno, planning to capture the vessel for herself. Sadly for her, her deceit backfired in the shape of a forced mental link between herself and Tarantulas that lasted until she drove the spider to sever it. When Tarantulas ordered her to look at Megatron's golden disc backup, she lingered until Tarantulas was distracted before downloading and encrypting the recoverable data. As the Voke were about to return, Tarantulas and Blackarachnia banded together once more to evacuate the dying world. In anticipating their next move, Megatron exploited their deception and pretended to be clueless about their betrayal. He placed his own twist on the design when they constructed their escape spacecraft, making it impossible to escape once shut and in space. Despite the fact that it did not destroy any of them, the end outcome was much better. Optimus Prime ended up in the pod and was obliterated instead. Blackarachnia's cleverness rescued her as she persuaded Megatron that he'd want warriors, giving him an excuse to spare her life. She also developed a psychic bond with Tarantulas, which gave him command over her body, much to her displeasure. Tarantulas forced her to break into Megatron's confidential documents and golden disc backups for him, where she uncovered the Ark's access credentials. She took advantage of his momentary deactivation to download a duplicate, delete the data, and inform Megatron. Dinobot demolished them while informing Tarantulas that Megatron had actually booby-trapped them. Meanwhile, Blackarachnia blackmailed Tarantulas by threatening to murder herself and take his consciousness with her. She also prompted Silverbolt to refrain from fighting her since she was female, to Rat Trap's chagrin. As an energon explosion sent her and Silverbolt into the deep jungles, they were compelled to cooperate. Blackarachnia was constantly annoyed by the Fuser's obviously foolish gallantry and need to treat her like she was special despite her attraction to him. Listening in on their common link discussion, Megatron was appalled by the blatant romance going on. Blackarachnia enjoyed the pampering and tenderness, but with a solid facade of bitter anger. As the Predacons invaded the Proto proto-human valley, Blackarachnia joined up with Inferno. She did significant harm to Dinobot prior to getting destroyed herself. Megatron dispatched Waspinator to the Ark's location after confirming its position. Blackarachnia abandoned her station and followed him, realizing what this meant. Silverbolt persuaded her and would not leave her alone. She gave in, exhausted and impatient, and urged him to dig. The two burst through the hill, and Blackarachnia cackled about the Ark's powers being all hers just as Megatron appeared. He had always meant for her to get to the Ark because he knew she possessed the entry codes, and he threatened to vaporize Silverbolt if she didn't do as he ordered. She submitted to his terms bitterly. Blackarachnia manipulated the Ark's defense system to protect Megatron, not knowing what he was up to. History changed as he fired on Optimus Prime, wiping off all Maximals, including herself. She triggered Teletran 1's defensive nets to drive Megatron off the ship since she was unwilling to die for Megatron. She put the ailing Autobot commander on life support and initiated the repairs with Silverbolt's assistance. Seeing what she had accomplished, the Maximals grudgingly permitted her to enlist in their ranks because an enraged Megatron handed her the boot by almost murdering her. Because she couldn't change history without risking erasing herself, it remains unclear what she was trying to accomplish and what she wanted to do with the Ark. Eventually, Blackarachnia attempted to use the transmetal driver on herself. Silverbolt, who had no idea what she was up to, rescued her from within the gadget. She proceeded to chew him off, as any good girlfriend would, but was stopped short as an energy spike caused her circuits to fail. Tarantula's meddling with her core had activated a security system, and the sole way to remedy it was to uninstall the Predacon shell software. She reluctantly consented. The operation was thwarted by an ambush on the Maximal base, and she was disabled. Silverbolt, distraught, set out to avenge her. He effortlessly overpowered Tarantulas and was about to murder him when Rampage attacked. Blackarachnia arrived just in time in her new and better Transmetal 2 form, effortlessly defeating Rampage and rescuing Silverbolt. Later, in an attempt to restart the Ark, Blackarachnia castrated Rat Trap's tail during Megatron's last attack on the Ark. Later, after Megatron's downfall and captivity, Blackarachnia travelled into the future along with the other Maximals. Blackarachnia story in the Beast Machines cartoon. Blackarachnia is once more portrayed by Venus Terzo in the Beast Machines animated series. After the Autobot ship fell on Cybertron and the Maximal squad was blasted with gas, Blackarachnia's Transmetal 2 abilities and memories were lost. As a result, the amnesiac Maximal chose to go underground, upset and perplexed. She awaited her deactivation, trapped out of her robot form until the remaining 3 survivors, an equally dazed Cheetor, Optimus Primal, and Rat Trap, fell into her web. Primal took the decision to go underground, and Blackarachnia obliged by granting them safe passage via her webs. Nevertheless, due to her weak state, her webbing was restricted and the 4 plummeted the majority of the way to the bottom of the Oracle's chamber. She saw as Optimus took on his tech-organic form and became the 4th and final Maximal to be reformed, transforming into a pink-black Widow Arachnid featuring green markings. As she was attacked by a swarm of cycle drones, Blackarachnia used her tech-organic form to her advantage, capturing one among the Viacons in a snare of webs. But the death of Silverbolt had toughened her, and she could no longer rely on her Maximal comrades. Blackarachnia reverted to Predacon's survival of the strongest ideals, becoming more reclusive and distrustful than after the conclusion of the Beast Wars. She adapted to her newfound tech-organic form very well, and she was the 3rd Maximal to learn transformation. However, it took her a while to use her new robotic form in combat. She could discharge electrical jabs through the earth and throw tech-organic webs like discs when in robot form. All of her new powers and abilities, however, proved futile when she attempted to solve the mystery of where and why Cybertron's people had vanished, as well as the reason the Cybertron info core had been deleted. Soon after, she saw a vision of primordial Earth and her beloved Rat Trap, and she was subsequently sent to collect data about the shuttle that would transport them back to Cybertron, where they encountered Megatron's new intelligent Viacon generals. Megatron hacked the data link, entering her body, controlling her, and thus discovering the Maximal's headquarters while she desperately fought to regain her missing memories. As she discovered what was happening, she terminated the bond at the expense of the shuttle as well as their memories. Afterwards, Blackarachnia and her crew encountered the bat-like Night Scream, who took them to a unique organic fruit tree. Blackarachnia started to revert to her natural animal mentality after eating this fruit, and it was only owing to Cheetor that her savage mind was restored, and only due to Primal that Night Scream's existence was spared and reformed into a tech-organic organic form. With the introduction of the latest Maximal, Blackarachnia assumed the position of big sister to the inexperienced youth, and as a result, mellowed slightly. Eventually, the party came to one of Megatron's numerous Transformer scrapyards where the city's dead, sparkless carcasses were discarded. As Blackarachnia and Thrust were separated from the conflict, an unofficial truce was formed between the two apprehensive sides. But when Thrust rescued her life and her spark, possessing odd memories of doing so previously, her heart was set on the fact that he was Silverbolt, mutated and turned evil by Megatron. When Thrust appeared apprehensive, Blackarachnia made repeated pleas for Thrust to recognize his actual maximal nature. Thrust eventually removed her spark, with Jetstorm cheering him on. Nightscream battled Jetstorm for the spark as it shot into the darkness. Simultaneously, on another level of existence, Blackarachnia met Primal, who soothed her astral soul, allowing Nightscream to repair it and return her back. After Tankor obtained hold of the Vector Sigma key and infested Nightscream and the newest orchard with it, Blackarachnia became infected and briefly lost her wits as she was overpowered by the technomatter. Blackarachnia was spared when the remainder of the group decided to stop the process despite her infatuation with Thrust. But not even Thrust's current behaviour was enough to turn off this persistent lady. After a brief pursuit, using part of the organic liquid from the Cybertronian core, she entrapped Thrust in her webs. She forced his inner personality out, pleading for Silverbolt to respond. The response was not exactly what she hoped for. When Jetstorm attacked, there was another mistake with the organic goop, and for a little time, Silverbolt's real personality surfaced, sweeping Blackarachnia into his arms. He reappeared, but only for a short period. The goo eventually evaporated from both of them while fighting a ferocious Waspinator, and both the Viacon's wits returned. Blackarachnia fought in Megatron's citadel, fending off the Viacons whilst Primal attacked Megatron within, until she and the others were all overcome by the key to Vector Sigma, eventually falling unconscious. As the four awoke, they went to face Primal inside the Oracle. At this point, they persuaded him to return to real space and resume his leadership. Blackarachnia manages to push Jetstorm into a vast pool of the organic goo after a brief encounter with the living Transformer Savage, or Noble, his treachery and the arrival of the Grand Maul. He awakened in a new form after scanning a condor skeleton that was close by, a purple tech-organic creature of prey. The transformation in him surprised Blackarachnia. Instead of the beloved gallant knight in sparkling armour, he was now a brittle, troubled bot, tortured by memories of the awful crimes he had chosen to commit. She never gave up on Silverbolt, asking him to forgive his past and return to the Grand Mal to face his former master and save Primal and Cheetor. Even after Silverbolt transmitted a new Megatron-enhanced form of the old hate plague, causing division among the ranks, her affection remained unbroken and everlasting despite Silverbolt's guilt. Upon the reappearance of her lover, Blackarachnia melted once more and revealed features identical to her pre-tech-organic demeanour. Together, they fought an alien plant creature only for it to join the Maximals, 2 additional Viacons, and an odd undead spawned by Megatron's deformed spark. By the time the last battle started, Blackarachnia, just like the others, had been boosted by the sparks of Cybertron, diminishing the Viacon ranks. But like the others, she eventually succumbed, and her spark was drained once again as Megatron and Primal engaged in their final fight that ended in their sacrifice and the reconfiguring of Cybertron into something of a tech-organic utopia.
You wouldn't hurt a helpless female bot. Now would you, boy?
Blackarachnia in the Transformers animated cartoon. Alita 1 was an enthusiastic, vivacious Autobot Academy cadet in a previous life. Nevertheless, in the Transformers animated universe, her companions abandoned her to a swarm of alien spiders during a tragic voyage to a foreign realm. Her psychological state was altered as a result of the accident. She despises her new body, which she now calls Blackarachnia. Her hatred for her biological form is gradually driving her mad, and she would go to any length to rid herself of it, despite whoever she has to smash in her way. Her transformation inspired a renewed hate for the Autobot cause, as well as a desire for vengeance, which drove her to assist Megatron in his battle against them. She does not seem to be remarkably faithful to her commander. Because of her mutant techno-organic origin, she can utilize her newly discovered cyber venom to immobilize her adversaries, in addition to her innate ability to download and duplicate the attributes and armaments of other Transformers for a brief period with a simple touch. Depending on on the faction, Blackarachnia acts differently with robots of the opposite sex. She's biting and snarky against the Decepticons, yet alluring and cunning towards the Autobots. Simply put, these look to be facades donned by a being yearning to return to normalcy. This yearning, however, is Blackarachnia's biggest adversary since it has almost killed her. She was happy, friendly, playful, loyal, bold, brilliant and flirtatious when she was Alita. When she evolved into Blackarachnia, she became clever, manipulative, vicious, deceptive and possessed a distinct dark sense of humour. Yet, as Optimus says, we constantly see a portion of Alita in her since she is constantly very brilliant, provocative and flirtatious. Alita 1 is the smallest female Cybertronian, with teal metal skin, black and light yellow armour akin to Bumblebee's paint scheme, and a short ponytail and blue eyes. Alita 1, as Blackarachnia, has endured horrifying transformations as a consequence of her sickness. Her skin is purple, with black on her torso, legs, arms, waist and shoulders. Her distinguishing features include a bulbous spider-like belly and two jutting legs on her back. Her exposed brain is black on the exterior and purple on the inside, hidden behind the golden and black helmet. Her pelvic plate contains 4 sets of eyes, and she also has 2 regular pairs of eyes. Blackarachnia is technically one of the weakest Decepticons featured in this series, which might be attributed to her Autobot ancestry. Despite this, she can still shape her hands into projectiles and cutting-edge weapons, and has above-average agility for a Decepticon. Her shoulder-mounted spider legs can administer cyber venom wounds to her foes, and can also be used to download her victims' skills concurrently. As a consequence of her efforts to discover a treatment for her affliction, Blackarachnia is also very intelligent in the fields of genetics and technorganics. Blackarachnia's story continued in the comics. Blackarachnia appeared in the BotCon convention comics in 1997 in a narrative set around the close of Season 1 of the Beast Wars television series. In the 3H Enterprises comics continuity, Blackarachnia and Inferno watch as Predacon scientist Fractal sought to construct Energon armor capable of defending them from the Energon buildup in the convention comics narrative. Although appearing to be effective, the armor was taken by the Maximal burglar Packrat. The Energon armor was defective, and it might kill the planet if it came in the vicinity of mass volumes of Energon, according to Blackarachnia and Fractal. Packrat was chased by Inferno, but because he didn't need to enter beast form with the armor on his body, he had no overwhelming advantage in the fight. Airraiser, Cheetor and Rhinox accompanied Packrat after hearing the conflict. As Blackarachnia and Megatron appeared, Packrat recommended Fractal to attack the Maximals, who retreated. Fractal persuaded Rhinox that now the armor posed a threat to all of them. Rhinox persuaded Packrat to give up the armor as Fractal assisted them in executing this plan. Megatron was amazed by Fractal's newly discovered fighting ability. Blackarachnia is turned to the Decepticon camp and joins forces with Unicron, despite Silverbolt's efforts to revert her to the good side in Transformers universe. Blackarachnia, along with several other Maximals on Cybertron, was on hand to greet a group of legendary Autobot superheroes back to Cybertron. The festivities, however, ended prematurely when Unicron captured the entire gang and forced them to participate in his barbarous games. The Chaos Taint Bringers went further than skin deep for Blackarachnia's situation, as she now turned to Unicron's followers, the Decepticons, much to Silverbolt's disgust. Even as she assaulted Rat Trap, Silverbolt resolved to release her from the clutches of evil. Although the universe ended after issue 3, Optimus Prime's flashbacks in the Transformers Collector's Club book titled Cybertron Robots in Disguise provided a sort of conclusion in issue 8. He described the ultimate fight between Unicron's Decepticons and Optimus Primal's Autobots, which was cut short due to the events of Transformers Energon. Silverbolt is seen clutching Blackarachnia as they all escape in the flashback. However, it is unclear if this indicates she has turned back to the Autobot or Maximal team. In the Dreamwave Generation 1 continuity, Blackarachnia and Silverbolt were travelling back to Cybertron after the end of the Beast Wars when they fell asleep together. Unbeknownst to them, a new team of Predacons had implanted a transwarp agitator on their shuttle. As a result, Blackarachnia and the other Maximals were influenced by the agitator. They began to act violently towards each other. Rat Trap managed to escape and disable the agitator, restoring the Maximals to their senses. However, this also sent them back in time to prehistoric Earth, where they are forced to continue their battle for survival. In the Transformers Legends anthology, Megatron used Quick Strike to deliver a device to the Maximal base that heightened heightened their anger shortly after absorbing the original Megatron spark. Rhinox attacked Blackarachnia under the influence of the device, but Silverbolt intervened, allowing her to escape. The Maximals were eventually able to overcome the device's effects and tried to capture Megatron, but he escaped. As the Maximals travelled to Cybertron, Blackarachnia tried to reconcile with Silverbolt despite Megatron's apparent demise. However, they were ambushed by a strange zombie-like creature, and Blackarachnia retaliated after it attacked Silverbolt. Blackarachnia's strength and cunning made her a valuable member of the Maximal team, and her complicated relationship with Silverbolt added to the drama of the story. The Transformers Legends anthology is a must-read for fans of the franchise. In the IDW Beast Wars comics continuity, as the Maximals sought to delete Blackarachnia's Predacon shell software, someone developed an additional transmetal Vok body in subspace just in case it was required. It wasn't. Thus, it was abandoned. The 2021 IDW Beast Wars comic introduces Blackarachnia, who appears to be less morally ambiguous than previous incarnations. After a stasis pod descends to the prehistoric planet and scans an alternate mode for her, Blackarachnia becomes aware of her purpose and explores her surroundings. She quickly dispatches a prehistoric reptile that attacks her and then discovers a nearby Cybertronian ship, which happens to be the Maximal's Axelon. Blackarachnia, who is actually a Maximal protoform, is able to enter the ship undetected, and the Maximals remain unaware of her presence as they engage in leisurely activities. However, Dinobot, a former Predacon, is wary of potential danger from his former allies. His concerns are confirmed when Cheetor overhears Blackarachnia speaking to her on board computer and goes to investigate, only to be attacked by her. Despite Cheetor's attempts to reason with her, Blackarachnia shows no interest in dialogue and instead continues to attack. Her actions suggest that her personality may match her portrayal in the original show, where she was manipulated by Tarantulas. While Cheetor briefly had a crush on her in the past, their encounter in the comic book hints at a potentially deadly confrontation. Blackarachnia Toys line. Beast Wars Blackarachnia Deluxe 1996-1997. The original Blackarachnia toy is a redesigned Tarantulas mold that transforms into a pretty generic-looking organic spider. It has a spring-loaded launcher buried in its beast form belly. It launches a grappling hook tied to its midsection by a thread, although its 4 beast mode legs may also be detached and utilised as ammo. The Takara version of the toy differs significantly in colour from the Hasbro edition. This mold was eventually used to create the 10th anniversary Beast Wars Tarantulas, as well as the Beast Wars Telemoka Blackarachnia. It was supposed to be utilised to build a second universe Blackarachnia toy set, however, that toy set was scrapped. Beast Machines Blackarachnia Deluxe 2000. Blackarachnia, an early Beast Machines toy, morphs into a techno-organic arachnid. Pinching its pedipals together elevates its central fangs in spider mode. They are spring-loaded to disengage and lower. Her robot mode head includes a multi-piece flexible brow that can slide up to show 2 more sets of eyes, similar to the earliest Beast Machines articulated features design. This mold was eventually refurbished to create the Universe edition of Blackarachnia, as well as Crystal Widow. Universe Blackarachnia Deluxe 2003. Blackarachnia reappeared as a Decepticon and a redeco of the classic Beast Machines figure for Universe. However, her 4 arms were inadvertently switched, resulting in the spikes pointing straight towards her biceps instead of down near her elbows. She also got a Decepticon faction emblem above her spark crystal. Crystal Widow was created using this mold, which had the identical swapped 4 arms issue. Beast Wars Telemoka series Black Widow Deluxe 2007. The original Blackarachnia doll was significantly redecorated with a ludicrous number of gold paint treatments as one of the Beast Wars Telemoka collection, bringing her closer to show accurate colouring than any other incarnation of the cast, but still not entirely there. The original toy's gimmicks were all intact. At the show, her biceps are silver and she has dark purple on her legs and in a few other places. She was included with a DVD that contained the Japanese version of Beast Wars Episode 10, titled Guerrilla Warfare.
Pure Cybertronian circuitry. Just what I need.
Marvelous verdict. In conclusion, Blackarachnia is a fascinating and multifaceted character in the Transformers franchise. As a femme fatale with 8 legs and a sharp mind, she is both seductive and dangerous. Her quest for freedom and independence has led her down a tumultuous path, and her complicated relationships with Maximal, Silverbolt and Megatron have added layers to her already complex personality. Blackarachnia's unique abilities, captivating backstory and strong presence on screen have made her a fan favourite in the Transformers universe. Her appearances in various various Transformers media, including the Beast Wars animated series and the Dreamwave Generation 1 continuity, have allowed audiences to explore her character in depth and appreciate her nuanced personality. Whether you love her or hate her, there's no denying that Blackarachnia is a significant figure in the Transformers franchise. Her fierce determination and unwavering independence make her a character worth remembering and admiring. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone.
Miserable little